Am I the a-hole for not cooking my pregnant wife dessert? I, 29M, have a wife who is 6 months pregnant. She doesn't work. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom while I work, which is completely fine. Recently her hormones, or at least I hope it's the hormones, have been very angry towards me. I've been trying to help her throughout it and give her any craving she wants, even going out at 1 in the morning to get her some lemon juice. The other day I had a long day at work and was very tired and I just wanted to go home and sleep. When I got home my wife greeted me and then asked me if I'd bake her a cookie cake that she's been craving because she likes how I make it. I apologized to her saying I'm tired and would make it for her tomorrow when I come back from work and bring her some Panda Express. She started saying that she's the one who's pregnant and that I shouldn't be tired. I didn't answer her I was tired and went upstairs to sleep, but she kept yelling at me she's craving cookie cake and she wants it now, so I told her to stop being a brat and wait for tomorrow. She slammed the door on me and went downstairs. So am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole? I, 22M, need to move in with my dad who is remarried. He is allowing me to move in, but I have conditions/rules. I want to tell him, either he loves me and gives me a place to stay or not. I'm 22M and my dad remarried about 5 years ago. I lived with him until shortly beforehand, then I moved in with my mom. My dad's wife has a son that is 38, and he needed a place to stay last year and he declined because he didn't want someone that old living with them. I have had an apartment the last 3 years with roommates. I was going to the local college but stopped about 2021. So I've been working a couple jobs. I have a car and 2 roommates. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment. They both decided to move in with their GFs. So I need a place to stay. Plus I can't afford an apartment plus tuition. Well, I want to get back in school and save up money for a new place. I asked my dad if I can move in with him. He got back to me last week and said I can move in Labor Day weekend. He provided me the following rules. I can't have girls in the house, pull up in the driveway, cul-de-sac. No guy friends in the house after 8 p.m. or before 10 a.m., unless driving me to work or class. I can't drink or use marijuana, it's legal in our state. He can drug/alcohol test me anytime he chooses. I have to cut the grass, shovel the snow, and complete a weekly grocery store run for his wife. I must attend class every day I am scheduled. I have to keep my own car and I can't borrow his or his wife's. I have a midnight curfew, exception is if I get off work after 11 p.m., then I have 2 hours to get home. Missing curfew means I can't come home for the evening. Being gone 3 straight days means I have moved out. I have to attend church with him twice a month. If his wife asks me to do something I need to do it. If she asks me to do something and it makes me uncomfortable, call him, and he will handle it. In return he said he will do the following. Pay for 2 courses this semester. If I get a B or better he will pay for 2 more courses next semester. He will provided me an employee referral at his job so I can get a better position for a second job. The security guards make $22 per hour but it's overnight shift. It's not guaranteed placement, but several people's kids work overnight as security guards, on cleaning crews. 6 months of rent-free living. If I move out by January 1, 2024 he will give me $5,000 towards a new place. I think my dad should either help or just say no. These rules are absurd. I am an adult. I have 2 jobs and pay for my own car/insurance. I can legally drink or smoke weed. He said I can have guy friends over, but not woman. I have a couple of good friends that are women, and it's weird inviting over some of my guy buddies but not them. His requests are completely controlling. I think he made these rules so I would say no, and if I said yes, if I break the rules he can kick me out anyway. Am I the a-hole? I told my daughter not to bother applying for college. I am F35 and have a 16-year-old daughter. My daughter has a late birthday, early/mid-December, so she is going into her senior year of high school. She is a very smart girl and I'm proud of what she's accomplished. But she's also young and naive in a lot of ways. She's easily manipulated. She doesn't pay much attention to her surroundings. She can't stand up for herself. She constantly still calls or texts myself and her father for help with things. More recently, I've also been concerned about her doing dangerous things or submitting to peer pressure from her friends. I've met them and they are not good kids. I've told her to stop talking to them but she refuses and tries to go behind my back. For these reasons, among others, her father and I have decided that we are not going to let her go off to college as long as she's a minor under our care. This means that she won't be going in fall 2025-2024 because she doesn't turn 18 until that December. I am not trying to stifle her, but I do want her to be safe. She was recently talking about starting to fill out college applications and I told her not to bother. I explained that we weren't letting her go until she's old enough to make that decision for herself. She started crying and yelling at me but I refused to budge. I don't think I'm being unreasonable and honestly her reaction is more evidence of immaturity. But apparently she texted her aunt who has been calling me an asshole. Am I the asshole? Am I the a-hole for not sharing my inheritance with the rest of my family? My family situation is messy. I, 25F, was engaged 4 years ago to my high school sweetheart. My fiancé cheated on me with my sister, 28F. We had never had a good relationship even as kids, so after I found out, I went scorched earth both of them. She was so in love with my fiancé, but he dumped her within 2 weeks and was back trying to get me to forgive him. I didn't. My parents were initially on my side, but my sister had a nervous breakdown after she was dumped and was hospitalized, so they changed their tune to "it's over now and you can't be mad forever." So I dumped them, too, and went to grad school on the other side of the country. My grandfather was livid with the whole thing, disowned my sister, and chewed out my parents. Sometimes it felt like he was the only one who was on my side and understood. I was able to get my job to let me work remotely and moved back to take care of him when he got sick last fall, and I was devastated when he passed a couple of months ago. I had been in limited contact with my parents since I came back, mostly because I didn't want to be an obstacle to my dad seeing my grandfather, but with the understanding that any discussion of my sister or what happened would end that. It turns out that my grandfather left me virtually everything. He left enough for my father to cover a debt and some token stuff for a couple of other relatives, but he wrote letters for everyone and did a videotape with his attorney explaining what his intentions were. I knew that he had done well for himself, but he lived a pretty simple lifestyle, so I didn't realize how much money and assets he really had. I would give it all up to have my pawpaw back, but even after taxes it is set for life money. My parents are pretty mad about it. One of the reasons stated for cutting them out was how disappointed my grandfather was with how they had treated me growing up versus my sister and over the fiancé debacle. There were other reasons, but that's what they're fixated on. The will is pretty airtight apparently, so my parents want me to do the right thing and share it equally between me, them, and my sister. Their argument is that I don't need it. I make more than both of them combined and this would allow them to retire. My sister is not doing great and can't hold a job, so this would ensure she has something for when my parents pass. I don't want to. My grandfather's wishes were crystal clear, and also I kind of don't feel like doing more than the minimum for any of them. They've been telling me that I'm being vindictive because of a mistake years ago. I can't deny there might be a little vindictiveness there. I don't want them to suffer necessarily, but I also don't feel like they deserve my help. Will I be the a-hole if I don't change my son's name even though it may cause him to lose an inheritance? I, 24, got pregnant while I was taking a gap year traveling. I met an older guy, nothing gross. I was 19, he was 23. We had fun. I was working in a bar to make money while I explored his city. When I got pregnant he lost interest really quickly. I understood, but I am pro-choice. And I chose not to terminate. I went home and had my son. I also made sure to get child support. He could afford it. He did fight it though. I had to prove paternity and everything. Through that his parents found out. They are well off. They have met my son and they truly do seem to love him. They have provided gifts for his birthday and Christmas. They helped me with extra money so I could complete my university without going into debt. They have taken us on vacation with them so they could spend time with him. They aren't my biggest fans, but we are cordial to each other. 3 months ago my son's father passed away. He got drunk at his bachelor party, tripped on the sidewalk, and hit his head. And that was all she wrote. My son and I attended the funeral. We spent a week in that city so his grandparents could see him. They approached me with an offer. They had no other children or grandchildren. Their son was only 28, so he had lots of time to provide them legitimate kids. They did not say this, I'm just assuming, so they never thought about my son's name. They said that if I changed his surname to theirs legally they would make him their primary heir. I think this is dumb. He is their only grandchild and they would deny him an inheritance because of his last name? I said I would consider it, to be polite, and have left it at that. I actually have a pretty good life as it is. My family has been very supportive. And because of the whole court thing my son's father had to have life insurance with him as the beneficiary. Would it be nice for my kid to get a big sum of money? Yes. Do I want him to have the surname of a man who didn't want him, see him, or love him? No. I have been talking to my family about it and a few of them think I'm being an asshole for giving up this kind of money for my son. It is generational wealth and I'm making the decision based on emotion. I think they're assholes for thinking money is the only thing that matters. I think I will tell my son's grandparents that they can talk to him about it when he is 16. He will be old enough to understand the implications but young enough not to be tied professionally to his last name.